Welcome back to the channel, Sideways Gaming. We're back at it again. This is a video to help anyone who's learning how to drift on BeamNG Drive or is just struggling to get the right setup or the right mods. We're going to keep this video as short and as simple as possible whilst breaking down a lot of different things. So in this game we're talking about BeamNG physics. Doesn't necessarily mean it's real life, meaning that we're not going to tune this car necessarily how you would do it in real life. We're going to base it off a game. So even though it's a simulation and it's really close to real life, whatever, we're going to base this off what I've found happens in the game and what I've changed so far within my time playing. So if you're on a wheel, this video is going to be a lot of help to you. If you're on controller, it's also going to be, I think, a lot of help to you. Keyboard and stuff like that. The basic things are definitely going to be a lot of help to you, but the drifting and how to drift is not going to be in this video. We'll do that in another video. So let's crack on without any delays. The first thing you need to do is basically you can copy the settings, but the main thing that you need to do if you've got a wheel and you're using pedals and a wheel and you have a clutch pedal and you don't have a handbrake is come into here, come into your bindings and controls, go down to vehicle, go down to clutch. Just below clutch you see the brake pedal, the parking brake, the handbrake, the e-brake. As you can see, the slider here is my clutch pedal. It operates both. So when you do this, press your clutch pedal and invert it and apply. Now when you press the handbrake, when you press your clutch pedal, you're also putting the handbrake or whatever, and it comes off as soon as you release the pedal. Handbrake off, handbrake on, handbrake off. So that's top tip for you guys who don't have a handbrake and are using a wheel. Definitely something you need to have. So we'll go back over here now, back into options. This is the number 2 thing that I think you guys need to do before you start even drifting in the game. You need to come over to gameplay. Now you might want to search up different videos on different settings for controller, different settings for keyboard, etc, etc. Turbo Moose done a video. I'll try and link it in the description if I can work out how. But if not, Turbo Moose is the man. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a video on basically drift settings for BeamNG Drive, which basically is all talking about the settings in here, which is the basically assistance. So we go through this and he'll give you all the settings if you need it any deeper than this. I don't know if this is 100% accurate to what his was. It may be slightly different now. But then the next thing you need to do is you need to go into once you've done all this, you need to go into vehicle, go into tuning, and if you're using a wheel, once you've got all your race suspension and everything fitted, whether or not you have race suspension, you should still be able to adjust caster because that's part of alignment. So caster and camber are the two things that we adjust a lot when it's drifting. This section here, alignment's the most. So we've put this caster all the way to maximum on most vehicles. It allows the wheel, for me, my personal preference, it feels a lot more realistic in a lot of cars, and it's a lot easier to learn also in a lot of cars because with 100 it just feels a lot more timey. Whereas if you have it on the lower end of the caster, I can't explain it, but apart from feeling like it has less steering lock. The camber angle, I always go for a mid range, lower the better. You don't want too much camber. You want them wheels to be sitting flat, especially once you start turning. So as you can see, that they're not too flat. They actually could do with a little bit more camber, to be fair, but that's what you're always aiming for. Um, toe angle, so that's when the wheel basically is straight, and the wheel, as you can see, it's sticking out slightly to this direction. So that's toe out, and if you can adjust the rear on the car that you're driving at the time, a little bit of toe in will give you grip, a little bit of toe out will give you less grip. With the toe out on the front, it just gives you better steering feel, better front end responsiveness. It's just a lot better all round to have the toe out. So now we've passed the basics. I just want to have a little skim through to make sure I've not missed anything. We've done controls. Alright, let's go to gameplay. That's another thing. Controls, sorry. we'll go to force feedback settings, your axis settings. This is another thing in Turbo Moose's video. He goes through this. He goes through little things like this, like the side excel feedback. Again, this is all preferences. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You can find your own little settings in here. This is just to do with how your wheel feels, how much rotation. Always go for 900 would be my advice, because in real life that's what most cars and most drift cars run. In the drift world, they don't have short racks, so there's no such thing as um, 720 or whatever they run. It goes down and down. But yeah, so now we've passed all the basics, we're gonna go into one more top tip for you guys, and this is a top tip. And if you're learning how to drift, especially, the heavier the vehicle, the better. So if you come into here, you've got like this drift van. I don't think this is the best option for you to get the drift van. You're better off getting something like that. Put in a Cummins engine in it. Put in a manual transmission, a welded diff, drift steering, and then put in your car style. All the settings I just showed you. Any vehicle here you see, and you'll find you have a lot of fun. Just with the standard wheels, standard suspension, just with them little mods. Because when you see these drift cars, the tyres are special drift tyres. I don't like them at all. There's nothing wrong with the normal tyres in the game. And if you change them tyres back to a normal tyre, what you'll find is that it's too grippy because the wheels are very wide. Which brings me to another tip, which is the basically the tyre width, the wheels you put on your drift car. Don't go for big fat wide tyres. There's no need. These are 165 tyres, so they're like 7-inch width tyres on a 10-inch width rim. So again, you don't want to go for too much of a big tyre. If you do start going on online lobbies drifting, you're going to find that a lot of people are on averagely these tyres and a little bit grippier, some guys, but a lot of the good drifters are on mediocre tyres, maybe 8-inch width tyres, 7-inch width tyres, up to 9 I would go. Um, it just makes it a lot easier for you to tandem. It makes it a lot more smoother in the game. And this is a basic tip, and we're kind of getting into how to drift here. But once you get into the game and you're trying to set up your caster and stuff like that for your controller or wheel, whatever you're on, come into an area like this and do figures of 8 or just big circles, trying to work your car out to the wall. So as you work the car out to the wall, you'll get a feel for everything you need to feel basically, and do figures of 8s on the transitions. You'll feel the car, and that's another thing. Using this view is nearly impossible to drift because obviously you can see it moves around so much. Um, I tend to use the UI camera, the look ahead mode, drive ahead mode, whatever it's called. It's not the best. I don't know if you can adjust it, but in the car you feel so much more of the car. You can, especially if you're on a wheel, this is the view you need to be in. It's a lot smoother on your steering wheel. Everything just works a lot better. And then last off, I go for the bonnet cam. It's great for tandems because I can see exactly where the front end is. I can get like really close to things with the front and not need to worry about it, like this box. I can get really close to that, for example. It's easier to see rather than being in a view that's behind the car. Even chase cam, it's still behind the car. I can't see exactly where the front is and get really close, yeah. And if you are going to use an outside cam and you're learning, chase cam for me, because it doesn't move, believe it or not, and you're on a wheel, actually makes you feel every movement you put in, every little turn you make with your steering wheel. You can feel it and see it in the vehicle. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it helps you. I hope it brings you to. In fact, there's one more thing I'm going to add: mods. I've got a lot of mods, so I'm not going to go through them, but in general, if you're going to be drifting on BeamNG Drive, the 200BX is the go-to car. Now, I'm not going to get into this car because the suspension on this car is a mod, and it's completely different to anything else. It's perfect, it's exactly what we need in BeamNG Drive, but for basic drifting tips and basically getting to know the game and learning how to drift, I don't think you need to know about this stuff yet, but as you can see, the steering lock is immense on this car. It literally aquaplanes to the left sometimes. I'll show you quickly, just for the fun. Look at that. So you, look at that. We can literally make it crab walk. Look. So beats it. Look at that crab walking. Don't ask me how. I know where I'm going, but I'm gonna hit the wall now. No, we're not. I don't know how I haven't crashed. I'll be honest. Oh my god, that was pure fluke. Oh my lord. Ah. But yeah, this car is a whole nother video. It's one of the best mods for me for drifting. Definitely, even the engine, you can't really see it under there, but everything about this car, just mainly the steering angle, it's immense. But thanks for watching the video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.